Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
It's another Tuesday, and it's 7 p.m., so the geeks are here to take over your airwaves. My name is Kobe, Spikey, and Chroma, and you're tuned in to Joy 99.7 FM. Today we're talking about fake news. Not, an imitation kind of news that you can buy on the market, but news that's not authentic, news that's not credible, news that has not got any supporting evidence, no creditable sources. The news that gets people killed. That's what we're talking about. And today with me in the studio we have Maximus Ametogo. Max.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening to your listeners. The prodigal.
Yes, the prodigal guest is finally here. We haven't seen you since we started the show. We've been expecting you a number of times.
Yeah.
And Della didn't have hope, but I had hope.
Please forgive me.
And then Winston, do I need to introduce yourself?
I'm just a regular guy.
That does what?
Yeah, I'm just a regular geek, I guess.
Okay. So that's Winston. And the man in the suit.
You don't need to know I'm in the suit.
Well, it's a visual radio. Geek Squad, we're very visual. We give people, we let them imagine.
I see.
You're even a regular, so I don't know why I shouldn't introduce you. So introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Joseph. I'm Joseph Quay. I'm a cyber analyst. Basically, a fancy way of saying, I check on cyber stuff from my domain. I have a big TV that I see everything that goes on the cyber.
Cool. The guy just watched all of us. He has a big TV, like 75-inch.
In the basement.
80.
80.
Oh.
In a basement,
Wow.
kind of you lock with, access
Definitely.
control, thumbprint. Well, that's fake news. So, Max, you're in the space of social/media. What is fake news?
So fake news is a category of news that is supposed to misinform or disinform. So one is done deliberately, one is not intentional. So to misinform means you don't have the right fact, so that is misinformation. Disinformation is more about deliberately pushing out false news or using hoaxes to, present news in different angles just for an intended purpose.
Winston, have you ever come across fake news by Maximus' definition?
Yeah. Just yesterday. I think we were talking about it earlier today, but we didn't finish.
What story
talking.
was that?
Yeah, so my friend was on Twitter and he saw an account that said it was Elon Musk's account. And it had the verification tick and everything.
Bitcoin.
But he looked, the Bitcoin thing. I'm glad you noticed. So he looked at the name, the handle, and he realized that was a bit off. But this said account was telling people that it was giving out 10,000 Bitcoins. And I think you're supposed to send a certain amount of Bitcoin and it gives you back in return. But the interesting thing is that people who responded beneath it all had the verification tags, a number of them, and they all said, they'd done it. And they had gotten so and so amount of Bitcoin.
Yep.
And it happened for a while. And so when my friend saw it, he actually reported it. And they took it down. Now, this was actually a paid tweet. It was
a sponsored tweet.
Sponsored tweet, yes. So it was very interesting that Twitter didn't notice that this
Something
was
suspicious. Well, you can't really blame Twitter when you've got millions of users on the platform.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
I feel like the name Elon Musk should just be like, if you see the name Elon Musk, you just need to
Is
check
it a
it
profile
twice.
name or the username?
So the profile name was Elon Musk,
Musk,
and it
but
had
the handle.
The handle will be different.
Yeah, the handle was
With the
but-
same
yeah.
picture.
So the
Yeah, with the same picture. And
handle
then
was Elon Musk.
it was something else. It was something. It was something totally different.
But you see, that's the thing. What people need to look out for is those differentiating
username, yes.
factors.
Those details. But I guess the verification tag and then the consequent people with verification marks commenting on the tweet was what made it sound legitimate or seem legitimate.
Big Joe.
Yo.
But you know why I called you Big Joe, big screen. So
That's an interesting relation, yeah.
hmm So why would someone create this kind of news?
Why would someone do
Yes.
that? Okay, well, it can be unintentional, but for
So
the most
this
people,
Elon
who are-
Musk example,
in this case,
going by this.
money, because in the scam, the Elon Musk scam, he was actually telling people to purchase. He said he was giving out Bitcoin, free Bitcoin, and the people had to go through some procedures and stuff. So in this case, the people are interested in money. You know, recently the Bitworld scam.
Yeah.
So something like that, you know, it's a build up to the actual scam, which
Right.
is to get people to lose a lot of money.
Money.
And what he said, actually, with their verified profiles, what they found out was that they were actually hacking people's accounts.
Mm.
The people with a lot of followers who had been verified and using their accounts to, support us,
Okay.
comment under the,
Yeah,
under the
yeah.
fake ones.
Okay.
So you see it and you go to the profile and their accounts
Yeah,
are legitimate.
legit.
You see all the 4 million followers and they're actually saying that.
So this is not necessarily just fake news.
It's not.
It is an intentional hack
Oh yes,
to scam people.
It's to scam people and to
by
get away with
creating
money.
fake news.
Yes.
But are there other types of fake news that people need to be aware of?
Well, I don't know if I would call this fake news per se, but the recent job, there's a job scam.
Mm.
Okay, the recent job scam. I think the most recent one spreading so fast on I think on WhatsApp, spreading like wildfire, is the UN based job. Yeah. I have it here. I can show it. There's a job. There's this WhatsApp message going around for recruitment into the UN.
Mhm.
They have some, and look, the guys are very coordinated. In fact, see, they are not just interested in getting people to follow the link and then try to sign up. They're actually building full profiles on people. So you go to the site, then you have to fill forms. It's almost, you call people, they want to find out, okay, your hometown, and by the end of the scam, you realize that they know every single thing about you. But of course, fake news was the medium of which they used to
grab that
propagate.
data.
And it also links to the current situation. The joblessness situation and all that. So it tells you even about the modus in which the fake news spread. They look at the vulnerability with the people currently, and right now the jobs are not really going. So if you get any story that has a job component, it moves fast.
Right. So I just kidnapped someone, Gary L. Smith. This is a very journalism biased conversation. Have you ever been a victim of fake news?
Yes, I'm sure I have.
Someone has spread news about you that was fake.
Yeah, but it was not that bad.
Okay.
You
So it was fixable.
You nipped it in the bud before it went.
Right.
Yeah.
But how did this start? How did it happen?
Essentially, especially for people in our job, if you are controversial, it's easier to believe what you say, right? So, for somebody in-house like our own Manasseh Auni Azuri, he suffered one a couple of days ago with Peace FM Online. They published a story that is and Manasseh had to write an impassioned Facebook message 2 days ago or yesterday, debunking the story. If you've seen the story, it's a really damaging story. Now the story is not signed. No writer took credit for the story, but it's on the site. And for certain sites, for example, Ghana Web, they will tell you immediately that they are aggregators. So they will tell you that, somebody wrote it on his website and we copied, so we don't have responsibility for it. But if you look at the story that denigrated Manasseh, it was quite clear that it's a hatchet job. You know, it's in-house. You know, so that is how sometimes it starts. If you are controversial, sometimes it's used to attack you as well. And those are some of the things. In the height of the Anas expose, there were countless. There were so many fake news stories going around. And then it started targeting journalists, those of us who were actually following the story on a minute-by-minute basis. So you had some of those things. But because there was so much information going around, people were not really sure
which ones to believe.
Yes, and that's the danger of fake news. Today I saw a report on the BBC. I don't know if you've treated that story. Yeah. Yes, that people are actually being killed.
Yeah,
because
there's been lynchings in India.
In Nigeria, it's becoming a real problem because, and it's becoming a big deal here.
So now here's where we connect this to technology.
Yeah,
is technology responsible for this problem, this fake news problem? Because think about it this way: it's the whole emergence of WhatsApp and all these social media platforms that allow lots of people to connect to each other. That's making it easy to spread these stories very fast.
Ding, 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 ding.
1 minute.
Can I raise my hand? Yes, so fake news has always been around.
Yes.
But it has had different names. For anybody who went to journalism school or communication school, they will tell you that in the world wars, they use propaganda to amazing effect. So it used to be called propaganda. I mean, in the era of our ancestors, we used to probably call it misinformation because our ancestors would probably send some wrong information to the warring faction to send them on a wild goose chase. If you look at the story of Sparta, you know how they were conquered. The hunchback went to Xerxes and he was told to actually mislead his people through the back door, through a secret mountain pass. Now, for those of you who like literature as well, I think it's D.H. Lawrence that has a poem, and I think we learned it in secondary school, about a wicked gate. So it's a door that goes into the town that only the townspeople know. If you are not from the town, you will know. And this is from the ancient times. And that is how they led their enemies into. So fake news has always been there. But of course, it's been popularized with those two words, fake news, in recent. So it's just a different guise of lying. And that's all I wanted to say.
So, Max.
Yes.
What's in it for the creators of fake news? Is there anything monetary? Are they trying to get people to go to war?
You know, fake news is just like the liar in the room. It's either for attention or for some monetary benefit or an intended, defamatory result. So I want to defame Gary, so let me create some website and call it myjoy.com and then just copy some of your news articles there and then make the headline news and then go to Facebook and start boosting it. By the time Mark Zuckerberg will realize I'm defaming him, it's already spread and it's all over the place.
Somebody has probably slapped me a tackle.
And I've already planted it in people's minds.
I mean, we had that problem a couple of times.
So really that is the main intention. To defame somebody, to push a propaganda agenda, or to skew news or perception of people, towards some other people. So, for example, if you say fake news, normally we think it's just a wrong news, or a lie. If I said, okay, I eat 2 balls of banku, and then you say I eat 4 instead of 2, your 4 is fake news. If I don't eat banku at all, and you say I eat banku, it's still fake news. So whether it's misinformation or disinformation, they are all fake news. So some are deliberate, some are not deliberate, right? So people do that usually during elections where there's a lot of, quest for information, right? So something is happening. Maybe there's the Women World Cup coming up. Before you realize there's some news spreading about some player that has broken her leg or she's selling oil or something. They plan those stories just to reinforce some desire, fulfill some desire in people for a particular information. Now, when we heard about the Adenta accident, for example, some people are saying 194 deaths. The government says 24.
Yeah.
So who is lying? who is on the fake news side.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all part of it.
Yeah.
But some people do it for exaggerating. So they want to exaggerate. So 194, sounds plenty. We can't verify. 24, the government may not be able to also verify the 24.
Yeah.
So who confirms the 24 or who verifies the 94? So we are all in that mix of misinformation, and it may not be deliberate. Maybe somebody also starts somewhere and say, Charlie, let's put the figure into the system. Or on the last count, then somebody will start counting from my last count.
Yeah.
Then they'll be adding to it. So we're all part of the what they call purveyors of fake news. For example, if you go to the ministries now, you ask them how much are they spending on the women's football tournament.
That's coming, yeah.
You may not know, and then you go and talk to a receptionist or somebody who heard this somewhere, and they will tell you, our sources say we are spending 24 million on whatever, and then you push it there. Government says fake news. Government may not come up with the real amount. So who do you believe? So it's tricky. Fake news, there are very varied intentions behind or objectives behind fake news. Some are very dangerous, like the lynching in India, for example.
Yeah.
Somebody just said, and it happens here. When you start shouting thief, thief, or a wheel right now, nobody will even cross-check whose money was stolen and who stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We start chasing the person who is running. So it's if I stole your money, and then they start shouting a wheel, and then you rather start running, they will lynch you.
It's all over
That's
for
a
you.
very, very, very common.
So
phenomenon.
mob action, so it's all part of it. So Charlie, we are part of the creators of
The fake news. So I mean, now that you mentioned the Indian story, I read about it when it happened, and this has actually caused a lot of problems. Now, what caused this is that India is very large, as we all know, very vastly populated, and then the internet and the digital technology is just penetrating. So imagine, let's use Ghana for example, where you have certain remote areas, and then finally internet reaches there, people start having WhatsApp, and they don't know what's happening in the city. I've heard in some towns the newspaper gets there the next day, so they know what's happening in the city, and now they have internet which guarantees instant messaging. Then someone sends them fake news, and then unfortunately for these guys who drove into the city at that time, they were called child kidnappers or whatever it is, and then they were lynched. Isn't this a technology problem? Because if it was a newspaper, it would have taken a day to get there, by which time those people would not have been lynched. They would have come back home. Joe.
So I'm very interested in the angle you came from.
Yeah.
It's quite. You see, I think the problem is not necessarily technology. Technology only enhances what is already there.
Yes.
I think the problem is there are some conditions that are being created, and out of those conditions, it is leading to the effect we are seeing.
Yeah.
You see, we have moved from the physical space to the digital space, and we've left a lot of things behind. In the physical space, if Spiky, you met me and then you said, hey, so my dad has the latest Range Rover in town, right? I'll follow up with some questions. I'll try to ascertain how true that is. But I'll look at you, Spiky. How often does this guy lie to me?
Of course.
Naturally, when we moved to the internet space, there were some practices we were also supposed to pick up as well.
Sure.
And in the absence of these practices, it has created some void. So now, the same mentality that we're thinking in the physical space, that is, what I see is what is true. We translate it into the digital world, and that doesn't apply, because in the digital world you can easily fake anything. The second condition that we are creating, is the fact that people do not have official communication channels. Be it companies, be it brands. You see,
government.
You can have companies who tell you that we are not into these latest Twitter things. But if you are not on Twitter, if you are ECG and you are not on Twitter, right, then you have created opportunity for someone to create the account ECG unofficial, and you know that account. I don't know if you know. It's a very funny account. But there are cases whereby the account tweets and people genuinely think it's true.
Yeah, there was one they tweeted about GBC and the TV license fee, and people actually thought it was true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what condition is causing this? Is because the official communication or the official brand has no presence in the space, digital space, to represent their actual views.
Yeah.
So people can easily make up identities, spread any story, and before you know, the effect has already been felt.
Yeah.
So I think it's the conditions that we have left as a void that are creating the effect that we are seeing.
I think.
Okay.
Winston.
Okay, so from a technological aspect, I agree with you that we carried certain things over, or we shouldn't have carried certain things over. But I feel like when it comes to technology, you said India is highly populous, which is true. Let's take China. How often do we hear about fake news from China?
Because they have a centrally regulated
They
authority.
really police
Yes.
these things.
But do you want to do that in a democracy?
Well,
Yeah.
it seems like it
That's
really
a totally different
No.
conversation altogether.
But just from the technological
Yeah, so-
aspect, like you said, technology enhances what is already there.
Yeah.
So if fake news exists, technology will enhance it just because of how society is playing things out. But like I said about China, they police these things, they keep these things in check.
But
So
there have
they
been
don't have-
some incidents of fake news in China.
But it's not as often as you
Maybe
hear
because of the
Europe.
language barrier.
Yeah,
Maybe.
they've
That-
not even pushed
I mean,
it out.
if Shing's so harsh, Shing,
culture-wise.
how would you know that means that it's fake news?
But I mean, the premise is that their internet is
Of course,
highly
they've
policed.
gated
Yeah,
themselves
it
out
is.
so they can control
Yeah,
it.
highly policed, highly controlled. You don't just
Yeah.
get up and do anything. Although there are a lot of people there, it's very controlled. So how about you talking about democracy? Well,
You know, the irony of the situation about it is that we, the people, and as we speak, we are on the neck of Parliament, and we are bashing them for continuously postponing the RTI. We want parliamentarians and
information.
people who govern us to Right to Information Bill to be transparent about what they have before they come into office, what they have after they leave office, so that we can compare how much they've looted or otherwise, and so on and so forth. And then we are calling for regulation of the internet. Regulation of the internet is and again, I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's essentially spiky. A follow up to you know, Evans Spencer had this chat about 2 weeks ago when the lady who Lewin,
Yeah.
the lady who wrote the blog post about Lewin and then she got arrested.
Right.
He did a whole show about it, you know, and then he had the Kenyan journalist who was saying that they have
didn't
tried. Yes, the Kenya's they call it them BAKE, the Bloggers Association of Kenya, so BAKE BAKE.
Yeah.
They have moved to block the government from actually policing because the government wanted to do that there. It sits on the fundamental right of freedom of speech, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, so that one is also
Net neutrality.
I think
extreme censorship.
see what I would rather encourage you to do, right? You know, something that is to teach people how to spot. You see,
fake
to
news.
let,
Okay, there
let
are ways.
people start thinking about the ways that they were
is
using the
our
physical realm.
responsibility right now.
okay.
Yes, and one of the ways that I believe we can do this, and this one came to light just last 2 weeks when they tried to accuse Robert Mueller, right, of some sexual misconduct. And the person who tried to accuse him, the company, they say they are PI, private investigator company, they used technology to expose all of them. Their LinkedIn profile pictures that they were all using, that they said was a company, they used something called reverse image search.
Yeah.
Okay, which Google provides.
Yeah.
And but in this case they use Yandex. Okay,
The Russian.
to actually, and this one, it comes into play when, you know, remember the story in Ghana when they said that Ghanaians were being killed in South Africa, they were being brutalized.
Yeah.
You see,
Xenophobia.
something like this, with this technology, you can easily verify the origin of the images
When
that
they
are
were
being,
uploaded.
that are being distributed. If you apply it to the case that we had, you will see that a lot of the images that were joined together and shared, even sometimes by some popular media houses,
Yes.
some of the images had been on the internet long time ago.
Yeah.
It happened during the atomic junction explosion.
And then the
People
Right
did
after that,
People
another.
did that.
Yes, people
know
were
the
sharing.
tilapia story too.
Yeah.
Some of those.
I mean,
The
there's
tilapia story is also.
yeah.
there just has to be a story for people to go and look for.
Yeah.
As
Images
suspected,
you know,
tied in.
So, but in this case, I think one of the things that the listeners can pick from is this reverse image search, especially when they're dealing with fake news that has image. Should I say
Attached to
content?
it, yeah.
You can use Google images.google.com. You go there and then put the image that is circulating
Just
around.
upload it.
There's
Yes,
even
yes.
a popular one. I don't know if you know. There's a lady that they said a man dropped his sister in a septic tank
Yep.
He
Oh,
used
yeah.
hair for
That old video.
Oh my
That
god.
image rather.
Yeah.
That image was
At the end of the day, that lady who was actually just opposed with all the
Yeah.
images is a model in, I think, Namibia or something. And when I drew her attention to the fact that this story is going around, does she know? She was so surprised. And I found it with the images,
Yeah.
the reverse images. So I think it's something that listeners can pick on.
I mean, towards
when it
the
comes
end
to
of the
these
show,
things.
we're going to show them how to tell which, ways people
Medium
spread
they can
fake
spread.
news and how to
Yes.
verify, especially with some of these hoaxes. Give a typical example: eat bananas and an egg and you'll die. You haven't seen
I
that?
saw it.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was going around on WhatsApp.
a
where
lot
they're
of
saying-
health hoaxes
Yeah,
go
a lot
around.
of health hoaxes go around.
Like eat the two together.
Yeah, if you eat a banana egg. So I had a banana
I
pancake.
feel like
But
trying-
banana bread exists.
I mean, I had a banana pancake just for proof, and I said, "Oh, I'm about to die." And you were like, "No, don't do it." So I had to go and search for a hoax slayer
there's
and share it.
something that bothers me about fake news that will definitely touch, go to the heart of a lot of our younger listeners.
Yeah.
And it is our parents and grandparents who are on WhatsApp. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
You wake
yes.
up in the morning and your mother or your grandmother has sent you a message that your phone is going to blow up at midnight.
Yeah,
So put off your phone at 11.
yeah.
I mean, there was a story in the UK, I think 2 years ago, where a woman, something about pedophilia, and she shared it, and the UK government arrested her for
Yes.
sharing child
For sharing
pornography.
Oh yeah,
Pornography.
that one is against the law.
Even
It's-
recently on
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp,
Yeah.
in a certain group I was in, someone shared a certain video, and there was an audio in the background, and it was almost child pornography, if I could say.
Oh.
And I'm like, are you planning on traveling anytime soon? Yes,
Because you
because
shouldn't.
if this thing is on your phone and then you get to the airport, I'm very sure you'll be arrested.
Yeah.
So Spiky, what Gary is saying,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that there's a particular age group or demographic that fake news affects more than the others.
Of course,
think-
there is.
You see,
So let me just illustrate my point with an example. And then 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine goes out, comes home late. He lives with his mom. His mom had come over. Now, his mom had seen the hoax about your phone is going
Blowing,
to blow up because
yeah.
of a solar flare.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
put
yeah.
off
Oh, that
all
one.
electrical gadgets or something. Now,
Yeah.
this guy normally comes home and then will call his mom. His mom waits up for him, and then he'll call. It's quite a big house.
So she opens up.
She'll open up for him.
Why she
You
turned
can
off her
imagine
phone?
what happened. She put her phone off because
Solar flare.
because of solar flare. This guy was stuck outside. There was doomsaw in the area, there's no doomsaw these days, they say, so the lights were off. Essentially anything bad could have happened to him, but he stayed out till morning.
Wow. All
Did he have
because
work
of a
the next
hoax.
day?
No, this was Friday, so
Okay.
he had gone out for
Oh yeah,
a
so
week.
he could have partied.
No, so something like that. I mean, if something serious had happened, you
Yeah.
can imagine the problem. And these are ways that it touches. We can be all fancy because for most of us, we can identify fake news by 1-2 steps. But Charlie, if your mommy,
So
did
you
it-
see, that's where
there was one.
Angle come inside.
There was
That's where-
there was one about all this Finland having this number of, I think, churches or something.
Oh,
Their percentage being atheist and the rest. I said, just do a simple Wikipedia
yeah.
search. The country is 75% Christian, so you don't share those things. And these are intellectuals.
Exactly my
people
point I was about
who
to
know
make.
how to use Google search.
So the problem
They
is
know-
not really
It's not a group.
the
It's not
demographic
a
or a
demographic.
group of people.
Touches everybody.
It's basically people who just receive things, do not verify, and just send them because they find the content so interesting
And
that they think that the
sensational.
next person should.
So they are the
know
first
about
to
it.
break
So
the
it's
news.
happening.
So they want
Yeah,
to
they
break
want to
the
be
news.
the first.
But
That's
I
why I was asking, what is in it for the person that creates, and then who shares? What's in it for them? It's just. Personally, I think it's just self-satisfaction. That I'm the one.
the
who
media,
shared.
the craze to be the first to break a news.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So push it to the person. They go like, I trust Gary, so let me also forward it to Kobe. And then Kobe forwards it to you, and then you forward it to Winston, and then Winston forwards back
and
to
then
me.
you put it on one WhatsApp group, and
And then
that's
it's all
it,
over.
and it goes
So you
viral.
infect everybody with the same news, and people will go like,
if
their verification is based on the person who sent it,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
not the content itself.
But if the US elections are anything to go by, it means aside all this and self-satisfaction and the monetary bit, it means you can actually influence policies and
Exactly.
people.
Oh,
Hence the propaganda.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Seriously,
That is the
I
aim.
did
Brexit.
Kenya election, for example.
Yeah.
I did a whole, I did some this
For
thing about
Ghana
use
as
Facebook
well.
analytics to predict the election in Ghana. In Kenya, they had a page called the Real Raila. That is a Facebook page which was owned by Uhuru's camp.
Oh.
And they were pushing information about Raila on that page. And that page was more active than Raila's own page.
Yeah.
So that's the impact. And of course, Cambridge Analytica
Yeah.
did a lot of stuff for
So
for
you're
them.
talking about policy, but that's the next level of fake news and the way it's going to. So, for example, this website that was impersonating my Joy Online called JoyNewsroom.com, they simply played on the fact that
A competitor created a website called something Newsroom.
Something Newsroom, and you know the genius behind it.
Absolute genius.
I mean, even for somebody who could spot it from, I applauded the effort and the time. Like for somebody to sit down to do this, it was simple. And as usual, the simplest things are the best.
Yeah.
So the person creates a website, calls it joynewsroom.com. What does he do? Write stories. The grammar is good. I never saw one spelling error there. Because that's one way to check, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of spelling. The grammar is good. This is an educated propagandist. The grammar is good. And this is what blew my mind. Every single picture for every single story was taken right here in the studio.
Exactly.
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
it gives
They
you
were-
credibility.
So if they said Afenyo Markin, they found a picture of Afenyo Markin taken right here in the studio.
Yeah, they just select your pictures.
If they
It's as
say-
simple as that.
What?
Pardon?
Like when they take the official pictures, are they on Facebook?
No, because we post them with our story.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
story.
they
So
just-
it's on
yeah,
Google.
yeah,
already
yeah,
on
yeah.
Google. Once you search
For
it.
example, Nana Akufo-Addo,
Yes.
My Joy Online. They will find a picture,
definitely.
either watermark with
Yeah,
My Joy
My Joy
Online,
Online
or
watermark.
something, and then they put it there. The grammar is good. They add quotation marks, and everything is perfect.
Exactly.
And as I heard on the BBC 3 weeks ago, I mean they seem to discuss fake news every week. The University of Arizona has now finished its research on the U.S. elections and the impact of fake news. And every fake news story was shared 166 times faster than the
real
truth.
news.
It was even in the top 10.
Yes.
Of
The truth
all-
is boring.
The truth is boring. That's the idea. And 166 times faster before the truth. Well, so the truth has no way of competing with the fake news story. And if, as people are calling it right now, people want to weaponize fake news. That's what people are doing now.
Yeah.
Because it's now expensive to buy a gun and shoot someone. But it's quite cheap to set up a blog to say that the person's head is big.
Quite inexpensive.
It's
yeah.
quite inexpensive.
Yeah.
I
I mean, all you
Google
have
blog.
to actually do is just say something damning about the person. I'll
Yes.
get the person lynched.
So that's
Just
what they are
shoot.
calling it now. They are weaponizing information.
Yeah.
But to tie into what you said and then the demographic, I feel like the main reason why fake news catches on quickly is because every human has a bias. So fake news will attack any demographic as long as it is something you are interested in, or it tickles a certain thought you've had in the recesses of your mind.
Tickle.
It tickles you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
After that, when you read something, maybe you didn't like, let's say, Lil Wayne, you didn't like him, and then they say something damning about him.
That he has knocked somebody.
Yeah, you are very inclined to support and believe it, and then go on to share it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So as for when it comes to fake news and the demographic, if you find the right thing, you can get every single demographic. I mean, let's say for instance, hypothetically, the midterm elections that just happened. If I was gonna do fake news, I would probably, for the young people, I'll probably maybe recreational drug use, I would create fake news around
it.
that.
Yeah.
And that's where they are probably interested in. I don't know. This is all a hypothesis. And then for the older people, maybe immigrants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is all hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, make valid points. Yeah.
Certain people, maybe gun laws. Yeah, so you just target everybody. I think that's what happened with Brexit,
Yeah.
where it was both misinformation and disinformation, because they just made it
Exactly.
seem like they were Brexit was going to solve the immigrant issue, whilst there were far more bigger issues to think about than that. So yeah, just package it properly, and anybody will eat it up.
So if you're listening and want to join in the conversation, you can send us a WhatsApp on 0244340437. We're talking about fake news and everything about it. So, 138.com. Turn your passion. Gary, you're smiling. This is your money. Yeah. Turn your passion into some real cash. Make a move to 138.com, the best online sports betting and virtual gaming company in town. Introducing our online casino. Register and bet with us to enjoy 200% bonus on your first deposit on 138.com. Feel the taste of better odds, endless markets, and prompt payments. Live live in-play betting. Enjoy our unbeatable odds boost for all major leagues and Champions League matches. 138.com is licensed and regulated by Gaming Commission of Ghana, and it's not for persons under 18 years. Bet responsibly. Don't use all your money. Join the winning team now. 138.com. Win every day, and this is not fake news.
Yes, but speaking of betting, the trending story, if you...
Oh, the guy who bet 220 times.
Daniel Sturridge of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's been investigated by the Football Association. Why? Because apparently when he was making his move to West Brom. He knew at a point they told him that, Daniel, your deal with West Brom is done.
Yeah.
So the story goes that he told somebody that I am going to move before the news broke. So the person went to bet on the outcome.
That odd.
Yes, on that odd. And the person made a lot of money. According to the investigation, he knew about this bet. And he actually put money into it. And he made money off it.
Oh,
now, his first defense is that he did not know about it and that he's trying to say that it's fake news. That somebody who knew about it made money out of it and is trying to pin it on him. Because such things can only come out when somebody reports it.
Yeah.
You know, so, Charlie, tomorrow I'm moving to Asante Kotoko. Maybe tonight the betting odds are that, Gary is going to Hearts. So that's a big odd. Then, that's a small odd because it's very likely that maybe my father played for Hearts, my grandfather played for Hearts. So everybody thinks that I'm going to play for Hearts. But I know that I'm going to play for Kotoko. So I tell you guys here that, you know what? Look at the bets, look at the odd for me going to Kotoko. It's huge. Let's put 10,000 Ghana cedis on it. We can make, by tomorrow, by this time, we could have made 50,000 Ghana, split it 5 ways, and we are rich. And he's in trouble now. If he is found guilty of it, he could be in a lot of hot water. And that is the power of fake news. A young man's career could be curtailed because, assuming he's innocent, this has happened to him.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is weaponizing information. I can't go to Daniel Sturridge's house to go and kill him. Because probably he has 5 bodyguards who are, or 5 or 10 bodyguards or whatever it is. He lives in an estate with, whatever it is. But I can sit in my house, contact the police, send an email, and couch it in form of a tip.
Now that brings us to deep fakes.
Yeah, deep what?
Deep fakes.
What is that?
So you're playing in our world now. Welcome to the world of technology. So Adobe announced the new Adobe Audition. I'm giving a speech, and then I say people are running. Helter. And I make a mistake.
Yes.
I can actually edit the audio and then type out what I want to say, actually the mistake I made, and the software will synthesize my voice
and it will say
and
the correct thing.
Will fill it in with the actual thing that I said.
Wow.
So, the emergence of deep fakes. Now, if you happen to hear a voice note from me saying something, how can you actually even tell if it is true or not?
Because it's your voice.
Because
all they
voice.
need are examples of my voice, and that creates it. That aside, there's also technology that can actually take your face and make you say anything that you wanted to say.
Visual tracking.
Of course.
3D.
Weaponizing information is now becoming easier and easier. So, back to my point. Is it a problem of technology?
I think technology is an inactive participant. is the human beings who employ technology to serve their own purpose or interest.
So how do we protect the people who do not know how to tell real news from fake news, the people who don't even know how to use the internet and the people who just see Gary's face saying that, I just spoke to so and so person. This team is going to win the match tomorrow.
Yeah.
So bet all your money. Someone goes to sell their house and bet. The next morning,
because Gary says
it. It's true.
Yeah, I think you should be smart as a consumer of news. Really, if they said, okay, Ghana is bigger than it is, or the president is resigning tomorrow or something, there are sources to verify all those things. Okay, so don't be in a hurry to consume the content. Okay, have it like a packaged food.
Yeah.
Okay, if you cross check that, okay, I won't get the food poisoning, then you can eat your food, but don't be in a hurry to be the one who promotes it. Cross check Joy FM, check other news channels, check the presidency,
official,
Flagstaff, all those official channels. Like he said in the beginning, cross check all those sources, right, before you can even start spreading the news.
Spiky,
so it's very important. Yeah.
I wanted to also add that, based on the example you gave, this is where my what I do as my job comes into play. I think what you mentioned is a good angle that can help dissuade a lot of people when it comes to fake news. That is being aware of what is possible in the technology space.
Yeah.
You see, the moment you are aware of the fact that an SMS can be sent with the sender ID of a trust BBC. Someone can get an SMS platform. All these SMS platform, mass marketing, and then just send with the sender ID BBC. If you know it's possible, you treat some things with a pinch of salt. But the fact that you don't know it is possible, that is what causes sometimes the confusion.
It is possible that you can get an SMS from any telco when it's not actually coming from them.
Telco, exactly. So the security awareness bit is extremely important. People need to be aware of what technology brings to the table, both the good and the bad.
And don't be shy to ask. Some people are just too shy to ask.
Kobe, have you thought about having the verification sign on the banking pages of our banks? Have you seen it before?
That's a totally
different. Sorry, it's a signature to SSL, like sign off SSL certification.
They don't even have some. So you have SSL.
Some don't even have SSL on their website. So if I go to abcbank.com, so I'm going to do online banking, there should be a certificate there, an e-certificate that shows that this website is certified, is verified.
But that one, Granny, can Photoshop it.
No, you see, there's a way of checking it. So those logos don't show. It comes from an external website. So you can't just copy and paste on another thing. Okay, so all those basic stuff are not even on our website. Do we have maybe a GJA or National Media Commission signature on all the radio station website, TV station website to say these are our members and their news? We can verify. We can
That's
trust
a very,
the
very,
news.
very good one. So if you're listening, GJ,
those
this
are the
is something that you guys can do.
So
and again, when Evans Spencer had this discussion 2 weeks ago and he spoke to the Kenyan guy, he said that's what the Bloggers Association of Kenya are doing. They know that they can't have all bloggers there.
Exactly.
But even if they have the major bloggers, those we know are the major bloggers in Kenya.
Yes.
And then we say that this logo is on everybody's website. So that if you go there, it has a seal of approval. Then we can punish them. Then we can sanction them. Then we can protect them and so on and so forth. Makes sense.
So if you want to call in, the number is to call at 0302 216 541. And if you want to send us a WhatsApp, it's 0244340437. 0302 216 541 to call, and 0244340437. The subject is fake news. So, I mean, from what everyone is saying, technology is just an instrument that is here to make our lives easy, but we are not using it well. I mean, I personally think that the primary issue is governance, because technology can't be blamed. It's evolving. Today it's fake news. Tomorrow it could be something totally different. But what's happening is that since tech is advancing and then society is not keeping up with it, governments need to raise awareness, like we're just doing right now. Educate people on what is possible, on what is happening. Otherwise, we're going to have a situation where someone in the village gets a story that swallows something and then you end up swallowing it and you die. Dying. So we've got a caller on the line. It's funny, hello?
Hello?
Hi, we've got a caller.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for this wonderful program. It's very, very useful for some of us. Is it so difficult that those who post fake news, is it very difficult for them to be arrested? If they concentrate of arresting them, I think some of them will stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's very bad. Sometimes they just sit back and spoil people business. So many things. They just fake things and put it on air, online, before they realize people's businesses collapse. If they can concentrate and start arresting them, I think it will be very, very good for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think they are arresting them. The lady who posted a story on Lil Wayne was actually arrested and she spent a night. I'll be with you, Joe. Hello, Violet.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Violet.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I just wanted to say you guys are doing an amazing job. And I love the show.
Thank you very much.
And Spike, you are my crush.
Yeah, that's fake news. Absolutely fake news.
Huh?
You arranged with this lady to call you.
Why would I do that?
You know who is calling.
Why would I do that?
You are trying to boost your ratings.
You're amazing, and you have an amazing voice, and I think you're brilliant, and I've loved to meet you. And I wish more men in Ghana were like you. So keep up the good work.
Okay, Violet, thank you very much.
Violet.
Violet.
What's her name?
Violet.
Violet.
Yeah, he's looking Violet.
Delaware. I'm sorry. I don't know anything.
But Violet, if you have not seen Spike, I assume you've seen him. But you can take your crashing further by watching him on my on Facebook. We are streaming live.
Yeah.
You know, and you can download that video and
look at him.
At him all the time.
You wearing pink or violet?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know.
Spike, the air condition is on and Spike is sweating.
Of course I will sweat. This is damning information, man.
Anyway,
it's fake news.
That's fine.
Okay, so the first guy said about the arresting people. The interesting thing about society right now is that once you have been defamed, whether it's true or otherwise, it's very difficult to come back. So the issue should be trying to curb it from even happening. Because there are so many people who have lost so many things based on false rumors and everything, and they have never been able to come back from it because there's that level of I don't trust you. It still exists. That there's a possibility that this could have been true, and you just did something. And
I think the deeper issue is to create doubt. Okay. Yeah. So when you create the doubt, it's enough
in the mind of
and the news
members of society.
Rejoinders don't spread in the same channel that
as the fake
original news that.
Hello, Ajimai.
Right.
Good evening, boss.
Hi. Good evening.
Yeah. I hope you're fine.
I'm very well.
Yeah, I'll call you for internet security.
Sorry?
I want to call you internet security.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a very nice title.
Yeah, is Gary there?
Gary is right here.
I'm asking a question.
Don't tell me you have a crush as well.
It's a Gary, I meant Korea Samman is not playing Ethiopia much because he has been reported injured. But another school of thought is also saying that his special man or whoever is saying that whenever he says that are you brothers, then you will have an injury. Which of them is the fake news and which of them is the real news?
I was just about to say that after your call as well, because something has happened in the last 24 hours where a reporter, we actually interviewed that reporter this morning on the Sports Center who claimed to have spoken to somebody who said he was a pastor and the pastor apparently told Kwadwo Asamoah of the Black Stars that anytime the Ayew brothers are called up, they shouldn't play. And so, Kwesi Appiah named his squad for the Black Stars that will play Ethiopia on Saturday. Yeah. Now, this reporter brought out the story on his website yesterday. Within 3 hours, it was all over the place. Wow. And the Ayews were totally defamed. I mean, we know the culture of, the politics in the Black Stars already. So by this morning, almost everybody believed the story that indeed Kwadwo Asamoah said he wouldn't play in the Black Stars because the Ayews were there. And apparently the story went that the pastor said because the Ayews had jujued Kwadwo Asamoah. So to answer your question, the fake news story is the reporter has come out to apologize because the Ayew family has officially sued this reporter this morning. And there's one way that I was going to say fake news can stop. When we catch somebody who spreads fake news sue the person to heaven
Yeah.
and hell
Yeah.
and purgatory
And back.
and back.
So we got another caller on the line. Hello, Abdul.
Yeah, hello, Spiky.
Hi, Abdul.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really enjoying your program this evening.
Thank you very much. Hope you don't have a crush.
No. I'm your cousin.
Oh, yeah, Roman.
Yeah, so I would like to talk to Gary, which
Right.
is Black Stars and fake news.
Yes.
He's listening.
Yeah, honest with you, I think for the past 8 to 10 years, the Black Stars have suffered a lot with this fake news about this juju, this money, this Brazil. What happened in Brazil in 2014 and what happened in South Africa about players sleeping with celebrities and all those stuff. I don't know whether it helps the image of the or not, but I think fake news is a big problem in our modern society right now.
It is, and you have just encapsulated our problem. I mean, to the extent that right now for the Joy Sports team, maybe I don't know the news team as well. But look, when we get news now, and you might notice that on my joyonline.com, as on the sports page, for example, sometimes news delays because I'm in charge. I want to be
verify.
better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'd rather
Not
be
run the
late
story.
than and we won't report it until we are double triple sure. There's so much fake news in the system that
Exactly.
it's crazy, especially in the sports.
Spiky.
We've got another caller on the line. Hello, Too Sweet.
Hey, my man.
What's up?
I'm good. I'm actually listening. And I have just only one question,
Right.
I'm just only hearing complaints and this and that and all that. My question is that how do we solve it? How do we solve in the fact that I'll be home and I'll get a phone call or a text message from my mom telling me that Jerry or Tuesday don't own your this year is going to blast, this road is going to be in a whole lot. How do we solve it?
Okay.
All these things try at least leads to cyberbullying and all that. So how do we solve it?
Right. So, thank you very much for calling Too Sweet.
All right.
Right. So, yes, Too Sweet wants to know how do we solve it. I mean, we can't completely eliminate,
It will never
vanquish
go
it.
away.
It will never go away, but we
Definitely.
can verify.
Yeah.
We can help people. We can teach them to, understand it better. My producer is saying we should continue the conversation next week.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
let's summarize. Let's
Yeah.
give a few pointers.
A few
if we can.
pointers.
What should people do?
Well, with the Google News app, the new update, it has something called full coverage. So if you go into the news app and you find a story and you access full coverage, it will give you stories from other reputable news sources that ties into that story. So then you can verify if multiple people are actually saying the exact same thing, then you are most inclined to think that it's authentic. Yes.
One of the ways also that I personally is that most of the hoaxes, especially that go around, have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And people have written about them on Google already. So
And
if-
hoax slayer.
Yes.
Snopes.
Yeah.
And Snopes.
Yes. So there are sites called Snope, but if you can't remember, just
Google
input the story in Google.
Google it. Yeah.
Yes, and then
Google is actually
your
very,
friend.
very, very good.
very, very good.
Is a
Yeah.
Google is Goodle.
Yeah. So especially for the non-Ghana hoaxes, the things that happen abroad and stuff, chances are before you think somebody has thought,
Yeah.
put it in Google. If it's fake, it will pop up.
All right.
Yeah.
Joe, you have something.
And I think something you can do is use the people, human beings, to verify the story. And human beings, where are they? They're on social media,
Yeah.
on Facebook, they're on Twitter. Especially Twitter. If you put a story there and people are not having conversations about it, and even what they are saying, it can educate you on what to do.
You mean they should put it in the search bar?
I mean the search bar, yes.
Yeah.
Or the last thing I also mentioned is, especially when it comes to websites that you don't trust, there's a database. It's called the Whois database.
Yeah.
It has information about when a website was registered. And when I just applied it to the Joy Newsroom website that was created, you can find out it was just created in the 28th of May.
This year.
Yeah.
And Joy News, the original one, has been around since 1999.
Yep.
You understand?
It
So
grew.
if you can just verify this quickly, you know that this site is new.
Is new.
And it's likely,
to be spreading
for a
propaganda.
particular agenda.
And for the drastic one, I mean, for those who know that your mother will forward or your father will forward anything on their WhatsApp groups to you, tell your mother or father to stop.
Yeah, because they can't go. Or you know what I do? When they send them to me, I get the truth and I send it back to them. Tell them that it's a hoax.
I mean, WhatsApp is trying because it has the forwarded tag on it.
Yeah, so I think we should have that personal, policy to verify news before you pass on. If you can't verify it, don't share it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can't cross-check, don't share it. Right. So if somebody shares any fake news, correct the person so that the rest of the people in the group will not forward the same content to you, because those kind of news tend to elicit some interest, and then the rest of the members in the group become evangelists. They start pushing the same news. So if you have somebody who can bust that fake news within that group, you stop. Yeah, exactly. So I think those are ways that we can do that.
Oh, and the final thing, read more than the headline. Very, very important. Don't only read the headline.
Very, very important.
Yeah, and sometimes check the URL of the websites. If it says My Joy Online and then the I is actually a 1, it's not My Joy Online.
Yeah,
it's fake. If it says Yahoo and it's YAH00, it's not true.
Spike, you have a WhatsApp message?
Can recap the website again. Oh, Hook Slayer and Snopes.
Yes.
Yeah, those two can get you.
I think you should just retweet it, tweet it on your page.
Yeah, we'll paste it on our pages. Our show is done. My name is Kobe Spikey and Chroma. You can find me on social media at The Real Spikey. The show was produced by Dela Glanu, Abeku Sankofi, Dennis the Fairboy, and Selwyn. And the news is up next. After that, it's Overdrive with Sammy Forson. Thank you.